Happy Saturday, guys. How are you? Welcome into the latest edition of the Daily Juice podcast with me, Matt Perrault. Every single morning, we are here on BettingPros.com, YouTube for the video, audio, wherever you get your audio podcasts. This podcast being brought to you by BetMGM. With the promo code JUICE150, new accounts, you bet $10, you win $150 automatically with that promo code JUICE150 for a new promo code. Louisiana, by the way, we welcomed New York last week. We welcome in Louisiana coming up here today for the Daily Juice podcast. So that's good stuff there. If you're in Louisiana, you can use that promo code. It will work for you here today. All right. We've been kind of scuffling this week. 1-1 again. We get the Memphis Grizzlies right. The parlay misses. I didn't see the end of the Suns game because the parlay missed. I don't know if the Suns covered or not, but the parlay missed because the Memphis game went over. Not by a lot, but did go over, unfortunately. So the parlay falls. 1-1 now. We're still technically up 5 units if you bet 1 unit on that parlay, but we won't hit every week, But we get Atlanta right. I think we got the Suns right. Let me just check while we're sitting here. I had not seen the end of that game, so it was trending in the right direction for us with the Suns. Let's see. And the Suns, let's see. Where was the final? They won by 10, so they covered. So that's a bummer. Just barely. -9, they win by 10. So everything, we go 2 out of 3 for the parlay. That's kind of the, that's how parlays go, unfortunately, just the way things go with parlays. But we get the Memphis Grizzlies -2.5. They win that game easily. The game goes under. They win the game by 10. So the game goes over, rather, excuse me. We bet under 224, and the total was 228. So it didn't go way over, but it did go over. So, and then we got did you see what Bryce Hamilton did for UNLV? Scored 35 points. Like, what the heck was that? That kid has that ability, but I didn't see that coming. I don't think anybody saw that coming. That was the craziest score of the night. That was a 124, right? No, sorry, 141.5 under that we bet. And that game flew over due to UNLV scoring 88 points. 88 points for UNLV. That was absolutely stunning. They shot 50.9% for the game. They shot 12 for 29 from behind the three-point line. Hamilton shot 22 shots, went 13 of 22 for 45 points. He scored 45 points in that game. The next highest score was 11 for UNLV. That's just a guy on fire. So we got beat by a dude on fire. Like, what career high 45 points for Bryce Hamilton. Holy Christmas. So, 1-1 day. Down the juice again. So not a lot of damage there. So parlay goes wrong, but that doesn't count. We don't count that for the record for the parlay. So it's a 1-1 day for us as we head towards a Saturday. All right. So here's what tomorrow is going to look like. We have the live stream. So we have 4 player props going for the game. I will have at least 3 bets going with full units and potentially more going. So we'll have at least 4 units going on Sunday. So because of that, we're again going to come in here, and I'm just making 2 bets. I may add on as the day goes on. I may make a couple different official plays, but I got 1 college basketball play and I got 1 NBA play to give out here on a Saturday. And let's start with Baylor at Alabama, maybe the game of the day here, defending champs on the road, laying 3 points to Alabama. I have seen a lot of people in gambling Twitter on the dog here for Alabama, but they're laying 3.5, and that number really isn't available. It wasn't to me here in Vegas. It's been 3. I think over 1 possession is an interesting look at the home dog. I will back up and say, home dog, I can see it. But Baylor is 12-7-1 overall this year against the number. Bama is 7-13. Alabama is 1-9 over the last 10 games against the spread. Alabama is 3-7 at home. They've lost 6 consecutive games against the spread, and they're 1-7 in their own conference. Baylor's 4-4. Baylor has covered their last 3 games, and they're 5-2-1 on the road. And this is the SEC Big 12 challenge. You got a Kansas State game, they win by 25. An Oklahoma game, they win by 14. And a West Virginia game, they win by 9. And 2 of those 3 were on the road. Look, I know Tuscaloosa is a tough place to play, and I know you might be buying really low on Alabama, and the books are telling you that they think Bama's live here because this number should be more, right? You look at this number and you're like, wait, why isn't this more? Maybe it will be by the time you guys get up, but I had Baylor -3. I'm not going to overthink this. I got a team that's playing really, really well. I've got the defending champs in a big cross-conference, rivalry type of game here. Bama can light the scoreboard up, and if Bama goes crazy from behind the arc, then yeah, maybe they could be live here. But, I mean, other than that 2-game swoon against Texas Tech and Oklahoma State where Baylor lost both games at home, they've turned around and bounced back and won the last 3 games, basically by an average of over 10 points in those 3 victories. So, if you're looking for, some matchup stats, clearly it's all about Bama's, productivity from behind the 3-point line because they shoot so many threes per game. They launch 29.8 threes per game. That's 7th in the country. And against Baylor's defense, Baylor generally doesn't give you 3-point shooting. Right now, Baylor's defense gives up 29.4% 3-point shooting. That's 28th best in the country. I'm just going to take Baylor here. I think this number should be higher. -3, Baylor. I know people are going to say take the dog. I'm call me Mr. Square. I don't care. Baylor -3, half a unit. I'm laying it. And then the game of the day in the NBA, the Brooklyn Nets and the Golden State Warriors. Look, this game I think will go under. Okay, I think there's a decent shot. This is a low-scoring game. In fact, most books don't even have a total up for this game, but whatever the total may wind up being, I think they got to see lineups before they project the total. But I'll see who's playing. But this is an ABC primetime game with Kyrie and James Harden both playing here in this game. If either one is out, I would eject from this bet, okay? Just if you can bet the other side and get out of the bet, okay? Because you need Harden and you need Kyrie Irving both to be on the floor here for Brooklyn. But the Brooklyn Nets are 13-10 against the spread on the road. Why? Kyrie, because they're 5-19-1 at home against the spread because no Kyrie. Now, Golden State's very good at home, 7-8-2 overall, 17-8-2 against the spread this season. They've covered their last 2 games. Both those games were pretty spectacular against Dallas and against Minnesota. They won by 38 against Dallas and won by 9 against Minnesota. But in the games before that, against Utah, against Houston, against Indiana, they did not cover, okay? Brooklyn, I think, comes in here with a lot of confidence on primetime because they've lost 3 games in a row. They have to win this. This is a big message without Kevin Durant being available saying, look, a lot of eyeballs are going to be on them here. It should be an unbelievable atmosphere. But I think 6.5 is too heavy. This is a 3-possession win here for Golden State over the Brooklyn Nets. You might get 7. You might get even more. I love this at 7, 7.5. At 6.5, I like it. I like it enough to bet. I don't like 6. I want 6.5 here for the Brooklyn Nets. And I think the number is everyone's waiting to make sure James Harden plays. I think James Harden's going to play. Like I mentioned, if he is out of this game, then yeah, bet the other side and get out of it. I will punt on the bet if Harden's not available. But if Harden can play, Kyrie and Harden can keep the Warriors, can keep the game close. They can score enough to keep up with Klay Thompson and Steph Curry. Steph went off 2 games ago, came back down to earth a little bit. Again, a guy who can talk about 3-point shooting and how inconsistent he's been shooting from behind the arc right now. But I think until Draymond Green comes back, you have to be a little bit skeptical of this Golden State Warriors team as to where they're going to be. So Draymond's not playing in this game. So I think without Draymond, Kevin Durant's a far better player, but Draymond's really important to the Warriors. So you're talking about no Durant, no Draymond. It's basically, it's Kyrie Irving and James Harden versus the Golden State Warriors, Curry and Thompson and their bench. But the Nets bench is not horrible. It's not as good as Golden State's, but I think it's good enough to keep the game close. Plus 6.5. I'm taking the Brooklyn Nets plus 6.5 here on the road at the Golden State Warriors for a half a unit. Okay. So just 2 plays again. As I said, we're tiptoeing our way through the week till we get to Sunday, and then we really can unload coming up on Sunday. Just 1 college basketball bet and 1 one NBA bet to get to. Got a litany of props to come here, and I'm eyeballing a lot of them. I thought about giving you guys some of the props today, but I want to just see a little bit more, do a little bit more research. Like I'm eyeballing Jimmy Garoppolo over prop for passing. I'm eyeballing, Deebo Samuel over for rushing. I'm looking at over for Joe Burrow, over for maybe T. Higgins or Boyd, and avoiding Jamar Chase and saying they're going to take away Jamar Chase and somebody else is going to have to beat them. So I think that's possible after what Jamar Chase did to them in the last matchup. So just want to look at some different games, watch some more film, read a bit more, see what's going on before I fully commit. But we will have the live stream coming up tomorrow, 8 o'clock in the morning Pacific time, 11 a.m. Eastern time, right before the first game kicks off. Here it is a 3 o'clock kickoff on the East Coast for the first game, and doubleheader NFL championship weekend. So cool. Only 3 games left in the NFL, 4 games if you count the Pro Bowl. So it's kind of a bummer. So we want to definitely try to unload there a little bit and have our prop bets good to go and having all of our sides and totals good to go for these games coming up on Sunday. So I don't think we're going to see much line movement. I've talked about it, plus 7.5, plus 3.5, most likely where I'm going to be. I'll tell you tomorrow if we're going to be officially on that for the podcast. All right, we're taking Brooklyn plus 6.5 on the road at the Golden State Warriors, and we are laying 3 points with Baylor on the road at Alabama. Both those bets for a half a unit. My name is Matt Perrault. Follow me on Twitter at SportsTalkMatt. Each and every morning, it's the Daily Juice Podcast, always being brought to you by BetMGM.